renewed hostile actions against United States ships on the high seas and the Gulf of Tonkin have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply.
Dr. Martin Luther King, the apostle of nonviolence in the civil rights movement, has been shot to death in Memphis, Tennessee.
Senator Kennedy has been shot. Is that possible? He still has the gun. The gun is pointed at me right at this moment. Take a hold of his thumb.
It comes out to like 1.6 billion rounds of ammunition.
Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people.
They estimated that they would have to eliminate 25 million people in these re-education centers. And when I say eliminate, I mean kill.
I'm here to warn people. You keep telling me to shut up. This isn't a game.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
The fact is, Kirk Waldheim, Secretary General of the United Nations from 1972 to 1982, was a top-level SS officer, a death camp operator. Yes. And the United Nations attempted to protect him. These are the same people that sit around and talk about America's civil rights and America's human rights. It's all an excuse. It's a package. It's a facade. Again, Kirk Waldheim, Secretary General from 1972 to 1982. And this fact cannot be ignored. This is the history of global government and pushes for absolute power. And we have the same type of individuals here in our nation today. There you have UN peacekeeping forces in Somalia and Rwanda, torturing, burning, making children drink salt water, eat worms, cutting people's heads off. This is the modern United Nations, but you won't see this in the mainstream press. This is a push for empire. They also give awards to China. We've already gone over China's human rights, the slave labor camps, the euthanasia, the infanticide. And they've given awards to organizations like NAMBLA. They've allowed them into the United Nations.
That didn't come out in the trial. You're some kind of provocateur. In fact, you're one of those FBI agents, aren't you?
Hey, we're in the middle of one of our interviews right now.
I know personally, I don't give a damn.
Well, I don't give a damn about you either. So
oh, yeah, you're not going to do anything to me. These people are murderers. These people are murderers. I'm sick and tired of hearing your lies when you machine gunned a bunch of men, women, and children. You got a big problem, buddy. You sit over here. I'm not afraid of you guys. I'm a law-abiding citizen, and I'm sick of it. You sit over here and you talk about how the children huddled in the corner and how the ammunition that they had is what killed them, all the rest of your garbage. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You don't stand up for the Constitution. You stand for zip, not a zero. You have no calm aplomb. It's false, my friend. And let me tell you, a lot of people are writing down your names. You can follow people around. You can harass people. You can back up your bankster buddies. But a revolution of peaceful information is coming, and when it comes time, you people are going to be brought to punishment. You understand? Just like Nuremberg. Just taking orders doesn't cut it, my friend. You understand me?
I think I've assessed you.
Yeah, oh, you've assessed me. You listen, you can sit there and say some kind of little joke. All your textbook garbage, my friend. I got people like General Parton, ex-head of Air Force Weapons Development. We know the federal government destroyed Oklahoma. It's proven. We know what you guys are engaged in, just like Hitler burnt the Reichstag. We know you brought Nazis over here through the rat line to set up our CIA after the OSS. So you can't sit here. You can assess me all day. I want you to assess me. I've assessed you, a smiley-faced slime ball that sits here and soft pedals and tries to placate the media. Waco Rules of Engagement shows your agents machine gunning men, women, and children as they tried to exit. One of the inventors of flare technology worth hundreds of millions of dollars is on that documentary. He is of the establishment.
Didn't you hear what I said? Didn't you hear what I said?
If I had heard
no.
I would have to ask the question.
Well, I mean,
yeah, but we don't need this type of placating. Somebody coming in and saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry that we did this." We don't need that. We need indictments. Then you need to go and you need to call for indictments of Janet Reno. Okay. Are you calling for an indictment of Janet Reno?
No.
Herman Goering and drag.
No.
And whenever tyrants come into your town or city, it's important to confront them, whether they're politicians or bureaucrats.
Over 4 years ago, I was interviewing former and current CIA officials about the Delta Force murdering people in Waco. They were extremely concerned. That's now been borne out in the Dallas Morning News and other publications. When are you finally going to come clean about the mass murder and using high-level special operations killers to kill Americans for publicity? Very important. Number one, about the Delta Force. Number two, Senator John Danforth, your special counsel. How can he be independent, as you and others have said, when he is appointed by you to investigate you? That's the question. Thank you.
The crowd giggled and laughed, and Reno refused to answer the question. Makes you proud to be an American.
We see the so-called anti-terrorism training going on in all the cities, the police girding themselves in black with ski masks. You know what I have to say to you. Get ready, because this is history. It repeats itself. Look at this century alone. I'm speaking to the law enforcement officers here. See, I have nothing to hide. I'm not a criminal. And I want them to know that. I want them to start going out and getting the child molesters and the murderers that we see in the back of the newspaper every week who are released to kill and kill and kill. They just found Colleen Reed's body a couple weeks ago. But they'll put you in jail, and I don't even smoke marijuana, but they'll put you in jail for just a little bitty bag of marijuana, but let out some murderer. Now give me a break. They want to pack the prisons with nonviolent people, and then they turn loose just incredible hordes of criminals to run wild, and that is the Hegelian principle. You create a crisis, you create fear, you offer a solution. Now the reason I've been on my crusade for 4 years now is because I hate bullies, and I hate people that are dumbing down our civilization. And that's the facts. Look at the test scores. I hate the IRS. So these law enforcement officers here, they can't go out and arrest somebody, at least not yet, and I know they don't want to, unless they have probable cause. And then they can't convict them unless they've been proven guilty. You see, in America, it's different from Germany and Russia and China, with all the dictators they've had. The difference is you're innocent until proven guilty. But with the IRS, you're not innocent until proven guilty. And some of these police officers have skulls that are so thick, they take these criminal orders. They put in the Bell Lab thumb scanners and scan us like cattle. And they're so thick-skulled, they don't see the commercials on TV by Lockheed and by Visa talking about doing it to buy and sell and to cash checks. Wake up! These cameras aren't for the criminals on the street corners. These thumb scanners aren't for the criminals or the so-called illegal aliens. It's all to control us, the slaves, the serfs, the feudal system. The average American pays 62% in some form of tax. Serfs in ancient Europe only paid 20%. And you know, the government likes to say, and city planners like to say, that big government gave us these structures. No, it was the men and women that laid the mortar. It was the people that laid the asphalt. It's the people that work in the plants, the automobile plants, the power plants, which is all being shipped overseas. They're shutting down this nation. And they can make their jokes. I challenge these law enforcement officers to go to Walmart or any other store. 95% of the items are from out of this nation, from India, from China, from you name it. And that's a fact. That's a concrete fact. What are we supposed to fight the next war with? Wendy's hamburgers? We gonna throw hamburgers at them? You men are just like the stormtroopers back in Germany in 1933. Most of them were decent people. But as it got bigger and bigger, and as the power surged, and as the propaganda poured, by 1940, they were killing millions of people. Look at every other nation. From Africa to Central and South America, to China, to Cambodia, to Vietnam, to Eastern Europe. Death! 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 You fools! You're all gonna pay in America! If you really get down, give me that bullhorn. Backup source. And I'm saying to people, the death threats to my person and my family and my friends and the harassment which we documented now by the Tower Records down at the Mueller Airport, I don't care. You see, the people that harass us, they're cowards. They think it's going to bother us. It's not. It's only going to reaffirm our spirit of freedom to stand up for our nation. I want the law enforcement to know this. Starting next month, sir, yes, starting next month, federal registering of all guns. Oh, they say they're only going to hold the records for 18 months. Kind of like in 1936 when they said the Social Security number would never be used for personal identification. It's incrementalism. They got the power, they just want more power. And make no mistake, they're enforcers, the law enforcement community, many of which are waking up, who are good people. We've got police officers here in the crowd. I have CIA agents on my radio program, FBI. What about Frederick Whitehurst, DPS, former head of the FBI crime lab? Came out and said the FBI manufactures evidence in every major case. When they go out and destroy the Murrow Federal Building, of course they got to manufacture some evidence. When they, oh, it's not just me,
It's the October 28, 1993 New York Times. Sheikh Abdel Rahman, they gave those guys the bomb, helped them cook it, trained the driver. Why would they do this? Well, why would Hitler burn the Reichstag?
You've got a mind, you've got the facts, and you've impressed me time and time again. Get out here and get Access television shows. Go out there and call into these radio shows. By our spirit and our example, we can lead the fight against this growing corruption that is enveloping the entire planet. Are you putting down America? Hell no. I'm standing up against those that are destroying this country as we speak. And why am I fired up? Because this is war. Absolute, unabated, total war against our nation. And I'm going to stand up against it as long as I live. And I say to those out there, in closing, the establishment with its multi-jurisdictional task forces, the MJTF, controls your local police. They're training with the military. Even 60 Minutes admitted the transfer of military equipment, armored personnel carriers, helicopters, to the local police of this nation under federal control. I didn't believe this a year ago when police officers used to come up and tell me about it. It's true. Make no mistake, we are mirroring Nazi Germany, and the Jews of the future are going to be the Christians. Understand that and wake up to that. They have bred every form of division, sexual division between men and women, children and their parents, rich and poor, smokers and non-smokers, Catholic and Protestant.
Are you going to stick a needle in my arm when I have no criminal record?
The only questions I'm going to answer right now are concerning driver's license issuing.
You just follow orders, don't you? So you're saying you're going to deny me the constitutional right to travel if I do not submit to this digital thumb scanning?
What I will tell you, today you will not receive a duplicate driver's license if you do not submit to a thumb scan.
Okay, look, I feel like I'm being raped here.
Well, I would sit down with you for hours to try to do what I could to help you.
Then just give me my license without digitally thumb scanning.
I am not going to violate DPS policy.
Is there a religious exception?
For your exception.
Is there a religious exception?
No. No, sir, there's not.
Everyone must take the mark. A digitally enhanced mark. They planned this. Just because you lay around doesn't mean it's not true. This is not a publicity stunt. I was a lot happier years ago before I got into all this garbage. I'm sick of sheep laying down. I wish you'd get up and do something. Makes me want to vomit. Our forefathers went to World War II and World War I and fought in the Civil War to end slavery, and it means nothing to y'all. We're a bunch of yellow-bellied weaklings. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of people laying down like a bunch of jellyfish and rationalizing what's going on. People ought to be ashamed of themselves.
My brother's a cop. Put a gold star in your arm and be quiet.
Yes, exactly.
Now look very carefully at Mike Cox. He is head public information officer for all of Texas for the DPS. They weren't going to arrest me, but about 15 minutes into the protest, he showed up and things changed dramatically. He walked up, stared at me, turned, walked back to the back. They had a little meeting together, and then they came and arrested me.
If you do not leave now, I will be forced to arrest you.
Sir, I'm here to get a driver's license. I have never had a criminal record. It's time to go. Here I go. Get my stuff for me.
45 patients.
I hope we've painted you a picture of what's really happening here in the nation. I got out of jail that night with a Class C misdemeanor, and I'm taking it to court, and I'm sure I'll defeat it with a jury trial. It was a small price to pay, though, to bring light upon the biometric technologies.
No one will go to the New York Times or care that it's even admitted that the government's hatching most of the terror plots. Or people will say, what are you doing? Endorsing radical Islam, saying it doesn't exist? I didn't say that. I said our criminal government is arming them, aiding and abetting them, protecting them to attack and kill us so they can take our freedoms. That's what I said.
Never water yourself down just because someone can't handle you at 100 proof. It's the Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Glenn Beck, and everybody else that runs around claiming that I'm saying there aren't any real Muslim terrorists. That's a load of crud, and you know it.